some inkling of selflessness. The wicked who fail to consider anything or anyone but themselves, and the in-betweener. The righteous who succeed are those who are motivated solely by their inclination towards selflessness. The righteous who fail are those Sephiroth, the 10 branches of the tree of life, Etz Chaim, Keter, crown of infinite light, Kokma, wisdom, Bina, understanding, Chesed, kindness, Gevurah, strength, Tiferet, beauty, balance, Netzach, victory, determination, Hod, glory, surrender.
Oh, Shama is up.
Yesod, foundation, will, and Malchut, kingship, realization of the divine plan, which all beings are aware of themselves as a part of rather than apart from God.
Yeah, comedy.
Cypher. The intellect, referring to the 3 highest faculties of neshama, egoic intelligence, called Ma, Binah, and Dad, Shekhinah, the presence of God in and around all things.
About it. That kind of messes with your head, like you're saying what's going on, it's going through your thoughts. Yeah, because
Wait, 1 second. Hey,
Edward, hey,
sorry, 1 second, guys.
Right, it's fine.
Welcome back to the Longmont Potion Castle podcast, where we're talking to Dr. Jim.
I admitted that I do some other thing, writing and talking, and then, but I'm always here. I'm listening.
And people here at Longhouse is funny, getting people all upset and screaming.
The right person for me. Maybe you are the one whom I look after.
Well, I appreciate you saying this, but I've heard you in multiple rooms, and I know that you have the right intention. And honestly, all respect to you for having the balls to stand up against all the haters in these spaces, for even talking to Palestinians. So kudos to you.
But Amos is as old Zionist. These are the new Zionists.
Are you actually funny, or is it just your name?
I do good Amos impersonator. Do not release.
See,
pretty close.
Comedy want to be Amos. It's a big honor for me. See.
I know what wars you fought in, when you fought, where you fought, in injuries you suffered. I was there with you in the battle. I know where you fought and how bad it was for you. And now you don't want this war for other people because you lived it. You know these things. We need coexistence now.
Comedies, tell me what you know about me.
You fought in a war to the north. You fought in a war to the south. You fought all these wars, but there's still no coexistence. So why did you fight in those wars?
Hey, guys.
Hey, Edward. By the way, you're one of the best. Like, I enjoy listening to you talking when you're speaking. Hey, you're calm. You express yourself good, and you get to the point. So every time you enter,
I appreciate it.
Excites me. Yeah. Like, I'm happy to see you in this space.
I appreciate it. I do.
Unlike Euphoria, who's yelling and screaming. No, I'm just kidding. Euphoria
Sorry, I'm back.
pretty good. Hey, what's up?
Euphoria.
I have my days. Sometimes
He does have his days.
sometimes I'm like, okay, fine, let's listen. It depends, honestly.
If Prince is in the room.
But you have never heard Edward. He supports Hamas. He wants Hamas to go into hiding, to come back, to protect in the future. He is a Hamas supporter.
Oh, Swifty. How's it going, Swifty? Did you take your medication today? It doesn't sound like
Hey, Slowly. What's up? Welcome. And hey, Kevin as well.
Hey, Edward. I love how Swifty tries to make me a Zionist so bad. Why do you want me to be a Zionist,
Why do
Swifty? Why?
Why do you support Hamas?
You don't want me one of you. You don't want me. You don't want me an Israeli. You don't want me a part of your country.
Why does Hamas?
Why are you letting Edmund upset you? Don't let Edmund upset you.
I can't make for that film. I don't like hummus really. Honestly, I'm not a big fan.
You
Big fan of
support?
what?
You support Hamas?
Hummus?
Hummus, yeah. Okay, hummus.
So Kevin,
Sorry, I'm gonna.
Kevin, are you excited about coexistence? Because finally Donald Trump has given us parity and reciprocation on tariffs. Who would have thought?
Is this the golden age? Is this the crashing economy, projected negative GDP growth? Is this like the golden age? Is this the golden age?
It is. It's America first.
Inflation's expected.
Did you see the tariff they put even on Israel? 15% on all Israeli goods. Unbelievable.
That was 17%.
17%, Dr. Kevin.
So I'm just wondering. So this is projected, as expected, to increase costs for consumers, otherwise known as generalized price increases, also called inflation. So that's going to go up. And
You sound like Pepe.
I remember being told, I've heard that before, I don't know why, but I remember Edmund, I remember Trump saying that grocery prices were going to go down. Now it's pretty clear they're going to go up. He said stock market's going to soar. Stock market's worse than when he entered office. It's fucking free falling because of these stupid fucking tariffs.
Anyway.
Because of these stupid fucking tariffs, dude. I'm like my fucking portfolio is going to take a massive fucking hit. This is like
S&P. You seen S&P today?
Portfolio of what kind of?
It's my fucking investments, my retirement funds.
Right, I understand. It does seem that Trump's plan is simply to drive to a wedge between the wealthy and the poor, and making the poor and then bringing home manufacturing jobs, which kind of America doesn't need when we're in the service industry, that's what China was there for. That's what the East was there for. So I don't know exactly how it's going to help the middle class Americans, other than making them more poor.
Yeah, I mean, you're completely correct. I mean, the only way to actually bring back manufacturing would be via a combination of tariffs and industrial policy, which would be the CHIPS Act of actually building the capacity to make shit. But I agree with your point. I don't want Americans fucking making bullshit things. Frankly, we're above that. All of the manufacturing that we do is very high tech, uses a lot of robots, and is final assembly stuff. That's when they say it's an American car. It's the parts are made in other places, and then we, with our high skilled labor, do the hardest parts of final assembly and finishing.
Right.
Even then, our economy can't really maintain this because for manufacturing jobs, they don't pay enough to allow someone to support themselves and to have the traditional suburban lifestyle.
The manufacturing jobs that exist right now are high skill, so they do. But the idea that we're going to bring back all of these lower skill manufacturing jobs, and they're magically going to start paying what they were in the 1940s is ridiculous. I mean, this whole thing is stupid and based on 18th century mercantilist weird economic ideas.
Yeah, okay. Well, Dr. Kevin, if you were in charge and you could make all the policies and do all the economic reforms or go fully Marxist, what would you do to solve the problem, Dr. Kevin?
I'll tell you what I'll do. So
Kevin's not the president,
Yeah, I'm not the president. I could tell you what I would do, though. So Americans are actually extremely high income. They make a lot of money. The reason why Americans feel poor is because of out-of-control costs in a few key sectors, like education, housing, and healthcare in particular. And I could go down the list of what I would do in each of those areas to bring down costs by increasing supply. For example, if you wanted to cost for housing, you could do that via a combination of further incentivization of building via tax credits, reducing regulation and permits. You could incentivize municipalities to liberalize their zoning and upzone That's, if you want it on the supply side to do that. In healthcare, you can free up some of the regulations there. You can allow people to buy insurance across state lines. Maybe you could introduce some sort of public option so everybody has like a minimum of healthcare. And then in education, you probably just want to establish like a national community college system and stop guaranteeing loans to everyone. And if you do all those things, you probably could bring down costs in those areas, and then Americans won't feel so poor.
Housing alone would really change the landscape.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the biggest one. That's like, I mean, you have people's, right now, like so many people, 30 to 50% of their rent is going to, 40, 50% of the rent is going to housing. I mean, if you bring those costs down by, 15%, I mean, 10%, that's like an enormous, benefit to people's wallet. But instead, everything's going to get more expensive and no jobs are coming back because people are retiring.
To top of that is also open AI that they're warning that within, I think Bill Gates said he changed it to 8.5 years, in which I believe he said 90% of jobs are going to be obsolete, and that also has to do with the government with instituting policies and regulations on open AI. So that's also a huge issue in as far as the economy. And then you have, like, since COVID, the epidemic in drug use that skyrocketed here in the United States, and so things are seeming very bleak in my view for middle class America.
It's about to get worse too. Fucking trillions of dollars of people's 401k, wealth in the stock market is about to be evaporated. Hopefully,
it's cyclical though. I mean, I think in 10 years you'll get back and then some. It's usually how it works.
Long term,
right.
I
can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Okay, yeah. So I mean, I have like a very long-term investing outlook, so I don't plan on like pulling out my investments or anything. The issue is right now I'm 24 and I'm like pretty early in my investing career, so obviously like the value of money invested now is much more. So I'm definitely like, this is going to mathematically over the long run of like if we end up with like a lost decade like we had from 2008 to 2014 or whatever, that's gonna long term this will be a serious chunk out of my investments. I wish I had more to buy at the get-go. That'd probably balance it out, but I don't. But they don't care. The MAGA people don't actually care about like people being wealthier or having money or being healthy. Or like any of these things they pretend to care about. It's all like a bludgeon for these like weird cultural ideas and fear of change and just like fear and not understanding people and like being scared of transgender people and Mexicans or whatever.
Wait, what does the transgenders have to do with the $40 trillion national deficit, Dr. Kevin?
I think you mean debt, but you probably don't know the difference between those two things.
There's a difference between the national debt and the
And the deficit? The deficit? Yes, there is a difference between
That's not what I meant
to
say. I meant to say national debt.
Yeah, I know. Easy to mix those up when you don't understand how.
Well, I'm just saying, how can you expect a logical conversation when you say that people who support Donald Trump also don't support transgenders, therefore they're completely wrong in what they're doing? I mean, you're now, is he even here anymore or he left?
Well, but we were listening to your argument. Go ahead.
Nothing. He's just a shock jock. I mean, it's a prank call show. It's called the Longmont Potion Castle Podcast.
Does anyone else want to?
Oh, we got Amos almost number 2.
Where?
Where? I thought I just seen there.
That's almost number 1.
Oh, number 1.
Don't worry, the transgenders will be safe in Israel. I know what happened to them. Yes, Resistance, we are listening to you here. I give you the stage. Start speak. Let's hear your smartness, your cleverness, your... Transgenders will be safe in Israel.
Well, why are you saying that?
Because they accept homosexuality there.
I almost uses clever as an insult. That's funny.
Oh, right. I got challenge that, definitely.
I mean, what would you do, Edward, if you were made king of, the universe and you could correct all the problems? Like, what would your big three things? What would you do?
Well, that's too large. You got to zoom in a little bit at least.
Yeah, well,
Give me
go
something to
ahead,
work
be
with.
specific. I don't know. You became king emperor of Israel Palestine. I mean, how would you make coexistence now? What would you do?
What would I do? I would have the Palestinians and Israelis sit down and iron out a plan to detangle themselves from each other, which would include a plan as to objectives that Palestinians would have to meet, and these objectives would be both confidence building, trust building, and also building the nation of Palestine itself. Once all the objectives have been met, then the United Nations Security Council would automatically recognize Palestine as a nation. And this whole plan would also include a big, thick wall between both countries with doors in it for people to go back and forth. And that would be it. See, the only thing that we need, Palestinians need, is someone to sit down, for Israelis to sit down and say, here is what you need to do to have a state of your own. These are what would make us comfortable, what would these objectives, if you meet these objectives, this is what we would want to see before Palestinians could officially become a state. We've never gotten that. Israel's never told us what we need to do, ever.
Imagine, you sound like an Israeli apologist just now.
Me?
Yes.
Well, how am I an Israeli apologist?
Because what the hell do Palestinian people need to prove to a bunch of terrorists and land thieves and murderers? What do they have to prove to them?
Okay. So
Understand that logic.
Okay, here's the logic. If Israel wants to keep calling Palestinians terrorists and savages and animals and saying how terrible human beings are, not even human beings that we are, okay, and wants to destroy us, right? It's only fair for us to shine the spotlight on Israel and say to Israel, okay, what is it that would make you stop and allow us to have a free and independent nation? They would have to answer that question, and they would have to put it in writing. That's never happened. Palestinians have never asked, and Israelis have never offered. So we need to ask, and that will put the responsibility on Israel to say, okay, because right now Israel's saying we don't want Palestinians to have anything. So prove that to the world. Prove this to the world. Ask Israel what they want us to do for us to be a nation, a free nation. That's not selling out.
Excuse me, is this the Longmont? Is this the Longmont Potion Castle podcast? Is this a prank show?
I still don't even see the basis. We don't need to ask them shit. Palestinians don't need to ask Israelis anything. They don't need the opportunity of anything. They need to stop their collective punishment. They need to stop their occupation. And the Palestinians will take it from there.
Well, they're not going to
stop. They don't need to prove anything to Israel.
It's not about proving pride.
That is what you said.
Okay, I see, but I don't bring pride into this though. Pride.
This ain't got nothing to do with pride. This got something to do with logic.
Yeah, you said proving.
What do people who have been oppressed for 100, almost 100 years need to prove to a terrorist nation on how they need to be able to thrive?
You know why? Resistance. I'll tell you why.
I don't get that logic.
I'll tell you why. Because if Israel says here are the objectives that we have to meet, I am 100% confident that Palestinians will meet those objectives. So that just takes away the occupation.
And that means that you're in denial because number one, Israel would never allow them to meet those objectives.
Well, that's my whole point, is that if Israel has not said what we need to be.
I want them to be.
Well, that's my whole point, is that Israel has not come out and said, okay, this is what Palestinians should do to be a free and independent nation.
And they never will. But we need to.
okay, we need to actually officially ask, not Israel directly, but through the UN, and to have the UN ask Israel, what is it? And then we negotiate on those terms.
We need to bombard Israel with the government, with the nation.
They don't want to fight and die anymore. They want to erase.
I agree with Edward on this. I agree with Edward on this. I don't think that the majority of Palestinians are looking for more violence, knowing that the reality on the ground is it's going to come on our heads. That's the first.
All there really is violence. What are you talking about?
And I understand what you're saying, but nothing about Israel and Palestine makes sense for it is logical. Like I don't think that I do agree that there is no intent.
No, what that makes sense is the world stands. Everything else makes all the sense in the world.
But I do.
These countries decided, to become in the United Nations. They made all these laws after the so-called World War II Holocaust. They all lied. They all took their word back. No country is stopping these people from committing genocide.
And here's the way to call them out. This is the way to call
I'm
them out.
tired of talking. Send the bombs. Send the missiles.
Potion Castle podcast where we're talking
I'm
after
tired of
Julie.
having my family killed. I've had cousins already
And
killed.
once again, you don't understand. They're gonna keep killing.
I don't know how
That's
many
why the
cousins.
Israelis need to get bombarded.
I don't know how many
They're not
cousins
gonna stop.
I've had in prison. I'm tired of it. So what we need to do is say to the world, okay, ask Israel what it wants. Ask it what it wants.
And they told people what they wanted already. They asked what Israel
Let
wanted.
Israel say we want genocide. We want
Yes, they want ethnic cleansing. They
Let
want
them
them out.
say it.
That's what they said.
Let them say no.
They are saying it with their actions.
Act the
What are you
UN.
talking about? I don't need to hear no words.
No,
That's the
act the
problem
UN.
with people. You like to talk too much. You like to talking.
Zachary,
Legally and officially.
your name?
I want to ask Edward about
That's all I want to hear. More talking.
what's going on between Israel and Arab. Do you think it's because of Islam or because of Arab culture?
Actually, no, it's neither. It's about the people that are oppressed who want their freedom. It's basic. It's very basic. Well, it's like asking South African black South Africans. Is it because you're black? Are you oppressed? Or is it because
It was because they were black, they were oppressed. That was why, because they're black.
Well, I've seen a phenomenon.
What do you mean?
But it's asking.
Just like the Arabs, they're getting killed over there because they're Muslim.
Yeah, but no. He's implying by his question is it's like me saying to you. Okay, is it because you're black? Is it because you're Christian? What is it? It's implying that it's one of them. That's what he's trying to imply. It's one of them, and I'm saying it's neither of them. It's not. It's a loaded question. It's not fair.
I do believe that there is a bit of a religious component. I don't necessarily agree with Edward. I do believe that there is a religious component to it, even though the issue is not a religious issue. It's not between Christian, Muslim, Jewish. This is a bigger issue. But when we look at organizations,
No, it isn't. It's all of those issues. They're all in above. They're all in
I don't want to send anyone down to the audience.
I don't care if you send me down. Okay, that's what I was doing. So you get a rainbow.
This is not complete. Let him land.
Yeah, you're interrupting a person who actually grew up in East Jerusalem, and I find it extremely
And how many Israelis did you ever beat up? How many Israelis did you put in the hospital from doing collective punishment to your people? How many Israelis you ever put your hands on?
I'm not defending
None.
Arab. I'm not defending Israel.
Let me just land that plane, Zachary. So, but when we look at organizations like Hamas, we cannot look away from the fact that at the root of their indoctrination is Shahada and it's very Islamic principles. That's not something that we can just remove from the equation either.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the Jewish.
Is it one of the reasons? Is it one of the reasons?
Let me land the last sentence. And this is exactly also the reason that within the Israeli government we have leadership that looks at today's conflict through the lens of religion, through the lens of 2,000 years text. So religious component is definitely there, but on the ground, I don't think that religion is the main problem.
Yeah.
Jews have superiority than Muslims and Christians, and that's how it is. They won in 1948. It became a state called Israel. They have the power, and that's how shit went down, basically.
Yeah, but as I said, let me finish in one minute.
This is
I'm gonna finish in 2 minutes, man.
Go ahead.
So actually, as I said from the beginning, I'm not defending Arab, I'm defending Israel. But so I've seen a phenomenon.